more like our online behavior has arrived at a curious paradox. Everyone seems to be more obsessed with individuality than ever before, while simultaneously participating in one of the most intoxicating lifestyle reproduction mechanisms in human history.
Okay, so this TikTok touches on something that's really important to understand about capitalism.
On TikTok, everybody is an it girl, or a sad girl, or a girl's girl, or a vanilla girl, and they're all buying the same Laneige lip masks and tastefully oversized sweaters. Everyone's smoking cigarettes, but in an old money way, not in a white trash way, God forbid. They proclaim their love for Marvel movies and romance novels to prove that they're different from film bros and literary elitists who clearly were just trying to seem different from them in the first place anyway. They're a stay-at-home girlfriend, but in a feminist way, or maybe in a trad way, but also in a way that's just true and honest and real. But most importantly, and we can't stress this enough, they are not doing it in the same way as everybody else. Everyone is jostling for attention in a crowded room, struggling to differentiate themselves within an algorithm that exists to turn their personhood into a commodity, subverting and subverting again and resubverting and desubverting until they're right back in the mainstream. Half the people talking about the culture are criticizing our generational individuality complex. The others are complaining that everything and everyone feels exactly the same.
So this TikTok by Rain Corp highlights one of the weird contradictions that exist within capitalist society, where everybody is pushed to think of themselves as individuals, to present themselves as individuals, and be your own unique individual person, while at the same time, everything about our existence is heavily commodified and to a large degree homogenized. And this is actually something that is very intentional within capitalism. And it really stems from capitalism's relationship both with markets and with workers more specifically, because the whole philosophy of the worker under capitalism is that you have individuals who are replaceable units within the workplace, where their humanity is sort of stripped away and workers are just sort of presented as these completely replaceable objects that just perform unique tasks. That's actually one of the reasons why, under capitalism and factory labor, tasks got broken down to such small components that people could even feel disconnected from the products that they were actually making. This is the alienation of labor, and it's about making individuals as replaceable as possible and taking work and turning it from something that is meaningful and participatory within society that requires creativity that you can actually take pride into, and watering it down and turning it into nothing but individualized, meaningless tasks. But this also has some major cultural significance that it's important to reflect upon, because one thing that capitalism doesn't believe in is what is called spheres of exchange, which is the idea that some things simply cannot be traded for money. And it used to be that even things like jewelry or clothes would be within spheres of exchange that were not monetized, that many components of our individuality and culture, the way we had a relationship with the rest of society, existed in a way that didn't really have any monetary value. It had sentimental or spiritual value. And the easiest way to understand that is think about this for a second. Imagine you have a child and that child paints something for you and you put it on the fridge. And then imagine a guest comes to your house, sees the painting on the fridge and say, hey, is that for sale? How much is it worth? That'd be a really, really weird question, because obviously it would devalue that painting. Because if it's something that your kids made for you, it has that unique relationship tied to it that makes it more meaningful than money can really be tied down to. But when everything is commodified and anything is turned into something that you can buy or sell, then all of a sudden everything becomes completely disconnected from its origin or its history or the relationships of people that made it. And that is one of the driving reasons why things start to lose their meaning under capitalism. And in fact, this is actually something that right-wing Christians complain about all the time when they talk about not having the true meaning of Christmas. Despite the fact that these right-wingers say that they love capitalism, they really hate the way that capitalism has watered down one of their favorite holidays into a commercial industry. But then there's the other mass marketing layer on top of this, which is the fact that unless there was a large enough market for something, capitalists will not produce it at all. And so all of our individualized interests then become clumps of markets that different brands can advertise toward. And so while you express your individuality, what you are really expressing is your relationship to a bunch of different brands that have carved out various niches that they think is useful for you to fill into. And this is something that is so pervasive within our society that it shapes our entire understanding of what style is and isn't. And this is why socialists have noted that capitalism fundamentally is a very powerful homogenizing force, that it can take different societies and cultures with different histories and over time erode at all of the cultural, spiritual, or community significance from things, and just turn things into just meaningless commodities, or turn things into meaningless exercises of branding or marketing. So that on days like Martin Luther King Day, for example, instead of thinking about the historical significance of Martin Luther King and the movement that he was a part of, you're just thinking about the furniture sale or something like that. And that really is the heart of the problem, that capitalism fundamentally is stripping away meaning from culture by taking every component of our culture and throwing it into the monetary sphere of exchange. Because under capitalism, nothing is sacred. And that idea that nothing is sacred fundamentally undermines our ability to even see ourselves as members of society, instead focusing on ourselves as individuals who are subject to society. Instead of recognizing identity as a relationship we have with our communities, people view identity as something that is purely internal to themselves. This both leaves people feeling very lonely and alienated, and also very often strips people of the language that's even necessary to communicate what we really need. Because what we really need is community, and community that is specifically not turned into a commodity.